I really like Marathon. And I will say behind Resident Evil Requiem, it is one of my favorite games I've played this year. And I've played a few. I've played Requiem. I've played Dragonkin, Dragon Quest, 2 Dragon games, Mio, obviously the Diablo season. And I know I'm missing something else in there that I've jumped into. But
Crimson Desert. That's
just
another one this year that you played.
so forgettable. But yeah, just messing with you, man. Everyone's gonna crush me again and be like, "Oh, this guy likes the marathon slot, but doesn't like Christmas Desert." No, it's just not feeling it right now. I'm not feeling it. But going back to Marathon, like I said, I truly enjoy this game. I think it's a ton of fun. The core loop in itself works for me a lot. It's your typical extraction shooter. Same reason I fell in love with Arc Raiders. You go in, you loot. It's just, and the thing you have to come to terms with is the gear that you have is not your gear. It's the world's gear, and someone's going to take it or it's going to get lost to the world. You're going to lose it. But that's why some of us hoard it. Like my vault is a hoard and I save a lot of my stuff for when we do now these raid runs. What I've stated before, and I'll say it again here, what makes a difference, it's a hero shooter and they're called shells, and there's multiple you can choose from the assassin, which Nick mains, the triage, which Dave mains, and I main destroyer. I just love the movement. The shield's really clutch. It's a ton of fun to play as. And yes, and that's like the hero concept behind it. They each have special abilities, and then you get into, which I think is also a really cool part of the game, is the build crafting that goes into it. You can put the different attachments on your character, the different cores. You can build those cores around a certain gun, or if you want to be a knife. A bunch of patches have come out. A cool one that either it's gone live, Chip, if you want to check, or it's going to be live soon, is a big buff to recon, where their ultimate will tell you the difference between players and bots, which will be
That's
huge.
nice.
And it increased and strengthened the AI of the spider bot, which will be wonderful too. So if it's gone live, I might be running some recon for sure, because I think that'll be huge for the team. Going back to it, so as talking about the recon, every shell has an ultimate. Even the Rook, who can heal himself, and then his tactical ability is he can blend in with the USEC, and the Rook is the character you play solo, jump in halfway through a run, or a little bit more into a run, and you can kind of sneak around and kill people. And we've all been killed by Rooks multiple times because they have shotguns and they're dangerous. But what makes this game even more special is each of the maps have different things. Like Dire Marsh has the lockdown, Pinwheel, and the outpost, which is like a mini raid in itself. And then of course Cyro Archive, which is a big raid map with multiple vaults, all this different lore behind it. And I think that's another thing the game shines really bright on, is how much lore is packed into this thing. Like you can watch the cutscenes from each of the AI factions, which again, how the game has factions in it. You can pick which ones you want to level up, and they have their own benefits. Some lean more towards like backpacks, others through shields, others grenades, others precision rifles. So depending on what you want to play through or what you want to focus in on, we love the Arachne, which is like the PvP faction, but also focusing on the main one, which of course the name is eluding me, but I'm focusing in on them just because I want to get that achievement where you VIP with them and I'm the closest with them. And I'm about 2 trophies away from the platinum. I got to get level 100 in the season and then VIP with a faction, and I got the platinum, which I plan on getting, which is show you as I'm excited about this game. So yeah, talking about what makes a difference, as I stated, is the shell system, the raid mechanics, and everything that goes into it. Why it's similar to Arc Raiders in that sense that it follows that same gameplay loop. You jump in, you try to get all the best stuff you can, get out of there and not die. Where I think it is better than Arc Raiders, and yeah, crush me in the comments, I understand, but it's my type of game better. It's that first person perspective. It's a Bungie shooter. You can feel it. It feels good to play. And yeah, I'm not the best. I get knocked out too, but it's fun that the 3 of us can hold our own. Like I said, we wiped every other team in Archive last time we played. That in itself makes it so much fun. It's like all these things I really enjoyed about Arc Raiders, but then you give me a tighter, better gameplay loop, which I think for me works a little bit better. And I meant to say this, boys, y'all jump in whenever you want, stop me whenever you want. You can kind of hop in this review with me as well. And the content depth is the multiple maps. You got Perimeter, which is like your beginner, Dire Marsh, which is hell on earth. The snipers everywhere, booger plants everywhere, you name it. And then you get, God forbid, you get caught in the lockdown with none of your mechanics kits. And then the vault keys I put on something I wanted to talk about is you find the vault keys. Because Dave, I meant to answer this question for you. You said, what's the point of playing anything else? This is so much fun when we were playing the raid. Well, when you play the other maps and you kill like the wardens or you do like the missions and stuff, sometimes they will drop those vault keys. and then in turn make you be able to get into the vaults within the Cairo, which is pretty sick to my opinion. Also you get more gear, obviously, to gear yourself up and get ready, but also you get the vaults to slowly open the vaults. And for those that don't know, you have to open every vault and get like an AI information thing from each of them. And once you have all 6, then you can enter the boss's room. So it's like you got to go in multiple times. It's all RNG, and eventually you get to the point where you can challenge the boss. So it gives you like an end game to reach towards, which I enjoy. I like that. I feel like there's something to work towards.
Mhm.
And that's why some runs hurt when like you lose a bunch of good shit. Cause I'm like, damn, man, this would have been perfect when the 3 of us are back on and we're gonna run archive together. Cause but I've also been saving a bunch of stuff. I think I have like 5 bubble shields that I'm like been, every time I hold on to them, I don't waste them in a run and make sure I
Mhm.
extract with them. So I can make sure I drop one for each of you when we load in. So each of us has one ready. They did nerf the bubble shield a little bit, but it's still super clutch when you need it. But I say it's just a lot of special in this game. But as Chip explained earlier in the show, it is a ton more fun when you're playing as a group. Even for me that plays it solo, who plays it with random people as well. When you play with a squad that you are familiar with playing with, you're on comms, you're working together, you lock in. It's obviously such a better experience. The solo attack approaches, as you'll see in our comment section and multiple different ones, and multiple videos we posted, like the solo is like a survival horror game. And that's what Chip had stated too. Me and him were talking about it. When you're playing with duos, I'm not really fond of. I just feel like, I don't know. I'm still thinking about it. Like, it's like you're kind of playing solo, but you have your buddy with you. But then it's like, I don't know. I'm still kind of up in the air about duos. But trios, of course, is where it shines. I think it's the perfect amount. You got multiple teams in there, and then that great feeling when you realize you probably wiped the map, and then you can just solely focus on getting loot, doing some raid mechanics if you're in outposts and all that stuff like that. A lot of great things I read in the comments. And Dave, you had responded to one of our listeners as well. I think and I agree with this. I think one of the biggest hurdles for the game, when we're talking about hurdles, is the game is at a $40 price point. And with so many free to play options out there or add-ons to current games, it is very hard to pull people in this. And I think that, and not only is it hard to pull people into this, it's also a very difficult game to get into because you have to play it and feel it to get into it and understand it and get through those pain points. As you were saying last week or the week before, it's like, it's funny with both Crimson Desert and Marathon, they're both 2 games you have to keep playing to really understand. And then once you understand it, then that's when it might click for you. For us, it all clicked with us. We're like, oh, I get it. Oh, this is fun. I love this. Me
Yeah.
more than you guys, but still, I think there's a universal love here. And Dave, I would love to hear from you at this point. It's like, I say this because I think people need to play the game to understand it, enjoy it. And I think a free weekend or another server slam or something that could bring a bunch of people back into it and play it. And people might say, well, they already did that. It didn't work. But I'm like, I just feel like there's so much here. But the biggest thing is you need the player count. And people might say it's not important, but I think obviously it's very important. You want people to keep engaging with your game. A thing they can work on and fix on. I'd love to hear from you guys. I know I've been kind of going on and on here, but I'm a little bit passionate about it. And I've been jumping all around, but I think this is the game you kind of have to jump around when you're reviewing because there's not really spoilers you can give except kind of like explaining the vaults. But I think everyone would welcome that more than anything. But another thing they need to work on is that battle pass. Like none of those skins. Well, the skin that's in there now, I don't really care about. I think even in the shop, nothing really sings to me. I think the best skins are what you get with the premium one that you get. And those are was it Midnight Decay? Those are the coolest looking ones so far. And I'm like, get more things like that, or even just totally different designs. We were talking back to moments we had with Halo, like the Hayabusa armor you get in Halo 3 if you get all the skulls. Like you make your Spartan look like a Gundam. Like give me something like that, like, or like utilize your other IP from like Destiny. Like, I mean, the Destroyer is basically a Titan. Give me like a cool Titan skin. You know what I mean? Like, so I think they need to work on that. I think they do need to open it up again. I think a free weekend would do them a bunch of well needed traffic. But with everything I just stated, I know I ran through a bunch. I know I'm excited. I'm rambling. I'm jumping all around. Is there anything that I just said that you guys want to pull at? Anything you're feeling differently? Yeah, I leave the floor open to you. Start with you, Dave.
Yeah, I'll talk through my quick experience. And you guys remember at the beginning, I was skeptical, and it's like you made a great point. People got to give it some more time. but also it's the fact of playing with friends is makes or breaks most games unless it's meant to be a specifically single player. And I know we saw a lot of that talk in the comments. And then I was even I was messaging some of my buddies that I grew up with. I saw on my friends list, this one guy, he was playing Marathon for like the first couple weeks. And so I wanted to ask, I was like, why did you stop? And he was like, man, I loved it. He played 40 hours. But then he's like, I didn't have anyone to play with. He was playing with randoms. And so that definitely changes everything. I'm looking forward to playing more, hopefully this weekend, because I know I'm going to jump in with you guys, but having that, if I didn't have the boys online to play with, then like Crimson Desert or something else would pull me, as we talked about, kind of having that single player I always like to have something to play with friends, but then I also love having, an Assassin's Creed or something like that I can just kind of chip away at my own pace. So it's definitely, it's grown on me the more and more we play. And I think what happened with this game is people are so quick to just be like, man, I've gave it a good shot, but then they move on to something else. And I'm worried about Bungie's future with this because of just what we've seen with the industry. And it's like, yeah, it's some people who are diving in, like you said, those guys that have 200 plus hours, like people are loving it. But if they don't sell, it's the money is I know they want to support the game for years, but realistically, the numbers are dropping so much, and it's tough. Some of the replay value, like we have that goal to hit the final boss and the archive and stuff, but then what's next? They're going to have to really keep the content coming if they're trying to. It's like, what's the approach here? You're selling it for $40, but then it's going to be this live service where you want people to buy skins, and like you said, the skins are nothing to write home about. And you see that with a lot of games these days. Battlefield sank or isn't doing as well because I appreciate they wanted to stay loyal to the fans. So like, we only want kind of realistic military skins, but then nobody's going to buy that because it doesn't make your character look that much different. The Fortnite approach, it's like, oh, you can run around as Peter Griffin or something like, or John Wick. It's like people want to buy. That's why Fortnite did so well, because there was just an endless supply. You could get Darth Vader. They just had everything. It's such a crazy game. And now these other games, it's like, well, we just want it to look kind of cool and realistic. Well, there's nothing to sell to anybody at that point because, yeah, it's a different shade of a gun or something. But I'm definitely at the phase of life where it's like, I don't want to buy anything, especially if you already paid $40. I can enjoy it without buying a single skin. So how do they continue supporting in the long term?
And there's something else I want to touch on that you stated with your friend. I think a frustration comes too when you play with randoms is like, you could go in fully kitted and get placed with two people with free kits. And then like, you're like, okay, well, I'm going to go in a free kit. Then you're put with people with full kits. And then you're like, dude, I wish I had my full kit right now because we could really do some damage. So I think they need to work on that. I think one of our listeners stated that like, have just a dedicated free loadout queue, which I think is brilliant. Now, I'm not saying that like you're just be queued. Everyone in the whole map is free loadouts, but with the team you're with would be like respectful to you. And then like, I would wait a little bit longer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Chip?
Yeah, talked a lot on Marathon. I've said this before, but playing the archive this weekend really kind of solidified, I think, why this game isn't as successful as it could be. And I think it's the sole fact that it is designed to be played with a team. I think if they want it to be more successful, they need to inject more content specifically for like solo characters or solo players. Like, I just think you have people you can not do the archive. I mean, you might get lucky, but that is like winning the lottery with how we read the guide of the archive. Imagine having two randoms and are you going to go in with your vault queue with 2 randoms, right? Are you going to go in with your high stakes gear with 2 randoms and attempt to do this thing? And they might have just the automatic kit that the Cairo gives you. Like you said, I mean, I just think it's not designed for solo players, and there's not enough 3-player teams out there to keep it, going. I think next season, if they want to turn it around, they have to kind of go away from the 3-player squad base, or have 2 different raids at endgame, and one could be a squad based and one could be a solo based, or just something. Because almost all the comments we were reading is people that like said, they play solo, they get paired with a random, they get killed instantly. It's very hard, I think, to sell a game that really is designed to be played in a team nowadays. Like, you look at all the other multiplayer games, yes, you can play them in a team, but it's not really a requirement, right? You know what I mean? And it's just the new age of gamers. There's so much content out there, so many people are playing different things that, like example, when Pragmata drops, who has a 3-player team right now that's hardcore marathon, but one of those guys is like, hey, I'm gonna go pick up Pragmata and play it for the next 2 weeks, and then you lose the guy. You know what I mean? I think it's just a really tough sell. There's nothing wrong with the game. I just think that, like, trying to pinhole people into forcing to play in a team in such a coordinated, such a high stakes type of game is what is hurting it.
No, I agree, but also I the purist in me is like, raids are meant for groups. You know what I mean? All the way from WoW to Destiny, like that's the pinnacle thing. But you make a great point
Yeah, but
for a
then a
game
solo
like
player is going to
this.
stop.
Yeah, but I mean, I never stopped playing Destiny 2, even though I was a solo player, and I didn't do as many raids as I would like to have done. But
You also
what I
didn't
was
lose
going to
all
say
your
is I
shit in
agree.
Destiny 2 if you died.
What I was going to say is I also agree with you stating that there should be like pinnacle stuff for solos too. I agree with you. Like, you could still do dungeons and, you know what I mean, stuff like that, and the exotic quests or anything along those lines. So I agree with you. There should be more stuff for solos, and I do also agree that's probably what's hurting it, is having a dedicated 3-man crew. And I think that's why, and I think it's smart that they have it kind of time gated, so people can't just farm it who have 3-time crews and just absolutely destroy the economy of the game. You know what I mean? They can only do it on certain times during the weekends
I
and
agree with
stuff
the
like
time
that.
gate.
So
Yeah, I think that that's smart. Like, I enjoy that. It's like, it's something to look forward to. But I just think, like, and I see your point with Destiny or WoW or these games, like end game content. It's supposed to be big. You want to have a boss fight, but it's a whole lot different when you look at a game and it's like, and WoW and all these games and Destiny, like, it kind of gives you leeway. Like, you could go do the raid and you're going to fail it 10 times, but you still get your gear. You just won't get any drops and you get to learn it. But with this game, it's like you're going to go into it and so many solo players are just going to stop. Or if they only have a 2-man squad and they keep getting paired with a random that keeps getting them killed, and they lose all the gear and the loot and all the things that they worked a whole week to build up just to do this experience. That's where I think that's the difference in this type of game. I agree with you. It's a raid. It should be a group, but you're losing all your shit. It's a lot of high stakes work getting put into it that if you're going to just queue up with randoms, most people will be like, I'm not taking that chance.
no, it's built in fear, but it's
Don't get me wrong. I had so much fun on the archive. I think that that is a great game map, and I can't wait to hop back into it. So I'm not shitting on it. I was just giving my point of view of why I think it's hurting.
No, and I think it's a great point, and it's a great way to look at it, because it is. I mean, the numbers aren't all the way up there, and there's a reason for it. And that's a great perspective on it. But like it says, like, but you're right. But when you do, like, when we did exfil from the vault at the very last second of Cyro Archive, it was just one of those, like, damn, that's what gaming's all about. You know what I mean? Just heart through the chest. The boys are all screaming. I missed it by almost a second because I had my character overheated, and I was like, the boys are gonna get out and I'm gonna lose everything. It's just I don't know. It's just a magic, man. When those moments hit and they're so much fun, and I wouldn't trade them for anything. Like those, that's why we love this hobby so much. Is moments like that, and Marathon's not the only dealer of those moments, but it dealed us a great moment of three guys in their 30s have been gaming their whole lives, got one of those special moments again, which is rare. I feel like this day and age. So it was very welcomed. I think that's why the game has such a little place in my heart right now, and why I'm enjoying it so much and why I'm excited. And I asked this question to close out our marathon loop, no pun intended, for a little while, but are we all excited to hit the vault this weekend? Dave?
Yeah, definitely. We have to coordinate like we did last weekend, whether it's going to be Friday or Saturday. Either I'm down for whatever. We stay up all night tonight. What are you guys think? No, I'm just kidding. But because it is this being Thursday, that was the shift. Now it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Because we tried to jump in Sunday night to disappointment. Yeah, we still had fun, but yeah, they did a shift with like the scheduling. So you got to hit the raid Thursday, Friday, Saturday. There's probably people in there right now.
Oh, there are. I was seeing like streams and stuff while I was working. I was
Yeah.
hearing them pop up.
It's
Chip?
interesting though. Like,
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Dave.
Sorry, this last thought. Like Chip said, the archive is a ton of fun. But what worries me, if this isn't enough to bring player, like we still see the numbers dropping. So it's like, gosh, what else? What else are they going to have up their sleeve? Like, what could pull people back in at this point?
I do think
It's
CT's
tough.
free weekend or free week is a smart idea for them. Make it free.
Yeah.
Let just send and give it a week. You need to give them a week because how many people played it for a day or two and put it down? Give them a week to get their feet wet, jump in, and I think that would save it at least right now until they can inject more content.
And then Chip, are you excited to hit the vault this weekend with the boys?
Yeah, dude, that was fun. Now we know a little bit more than we knew last time too. So we're gonna wipe the map again and get out of there with some good stuff. I mean, we can do it. There's no question of being able to take down the enemy scum. It's just a question of being able to make sure we can figure out
Get
what the
out of there.
exfil is in time.
Yeah, the map knowledge is so key. Like we had talked, we all have that memory of when I went down on that bridge, and it's like that'll never happen again because now we know. Like I won't push out to that part, knowing a team could come from that direction. That might have been my first time at least in there. I was like, "Are you kidding me? They just opened that door." So you have a little trial and error, and now we know the map. We know kind of what areas need to be covered the most. And I think we'll only do better than we did last weekend.
And we got a vault key we're going to use this time around. Maybe we do a one run to warm ourselves up.
Yeah,
and then we
don't bring the key first round. Let's make sure we can figure out X-Bill this time too.
And I'll see you in the archive either Friday or Saturday. I'm thinking Friday, or like Dave said, let's just do an all-nighter. What are consequences? But everyone, keep grinding, keep gaming. We'll see you all next week. Take care, everybody.